Is this life in Norway? Norway is a beautiful country. There is just so much to love about it, and there are just as many facts about it that you don't know. So watch this video until the end to learn a little more about Norway. You'll end up falling in love with this country. But what else is there to learn about the Scandinavian country? 1. Norway has the longest road tunnel in the world. The Leodal Tunnel is the longest road tunnel in the world, running for an incredible 15 miles. This is about 24.5 kilometers long. The tunnel cost the country about 1 billion Norwegian kroner, which is about $110 million. In addition to its fascinating length, it has a unique design that makes it more admirable worldwide. Number 2. The Nobel Peace Prize is awarded in Oslo. Since the Nobel Peace Prize was introduced in 1901, the Norwegian capital has always been the proud venue each year, with just a few exceptions. However, all the other Nobel Prizes are awarded in Stockholm, Sweden. So how did this happen? The reason for this is to honor the wishes of Alfred Nobel. He was a Swedish chemist who gave up all his wealth to create the awards upon his death. Number 3. There are two versions of the Norwegian language. There are two written variants of the Norwegian language. The first one, bokmål, is used by the country's larger population. At the same time, nynorsk is more popular in rural areas, especially in the Western Fjord region. However, all schoolchildren must learn both. The national broadcaster NRK publishes its news in both versions of the language, and all public authorities are expected to offer forms and other documentation in both variants. Number 4. The Norwegians don't call their country Norway. Norway is the English name of the country. However, in Norwegian, the actual name for the country is Norge. In the lesser used nynorsk variety of Norwegian, the spelling is Noreg. In fact, the full name of the country is actually the Kingdom of Norway. In Norwegian, this is Kongeriket Norge or Kongeriket Noreg in nynorsk. 5. The most remote island in the world is a territory of Norway. You may be surprised to find out that this remote island is not in the north. In fact, it is found on the other side of the world. Bouvet Island in the South Atlantic Ocean was administered to Norway in 1929, and it has since been Earth's most remote island. It is about 1,700 kilometers north of the coastline of Antarctica and 2,600 kilometers from the South African coast. Number 6. Norway is home to hell. There are a little over 1,000 Norwegians who can say that they come from hell, and by hell we mean a small village called Hell. It is within walking distance of Trondheim's International Airport and even has its own train station. And this train station in itself is a tourist attraction. Tourists mostly stop by to take a photo of themselves in front of the station sign. However, there is more to hell than its name. Number 7. Norway is the mother of the cheese slicer. Yes, the cheese slicer was invented in 1925 by Thor Bjorklund. It has become a common tool in all the Scandinavian kitchens and many other kitchens worldwide. And even though a lot of cheese comes pre-sliced, there are people who still buy blocks of cheese and use this invention. And ever since it was introduced, it had very little change. Number 8. Norway actually has a land border with Russia. If you ever thought that they were not even close, then think again. Even though there is just one road that crosses, the land border between Russia and Norway is actually 120 miles long. The Storsgård crossing, found on the E105 highway, is Europe's northernmost road border crossing, and in September 2017 a new tunnel and bridge were opened on the Norwegian side of the border, which in turn decreased travel time for those crossing the border. Number 9. Norway does not get its main power from oil. As much as Norway's oil and gas industry has powered the economy, it doesn't power the nation's homes. About 98% of the domestic power used in Norway comes from hydroelectric power plants. And even though Norway is ranked 9th globally based on the percentage of domestic power sourced from renewable sources, the country generates more electricity than those above it on the list combined. Number 10. The idea of salmon sushi, which is now popular in Japan, came from Norway. Even though sushi has a Japanese origin, they didn't think of using salmon in the dish until it came up from a Norwegian delegation in the 1980s. Even though they are far apart, Japan seemed to be the best fit for Norwegian seafood. But at the time, Japan's fish stocks were greatly affected by overfishing. Yet all this time, the demand from consumers was high. Number 11. The Colonel-in-Chief of Norwegian King's Guard is a Scottish penguin. Yeah, that's right. Brigadier Sir Niels Olav has held this title since 2005, but it all began way back in 1972. This was when the regiment adopted a penguin from Edinburgh Zoo. However, it goes back further to 1913, when the zoo opened and Norway presented it with its first king penguin. Since then, the name Niels Olav and ranks in the Norwegian military has been passed down through 3 king penguins since 1972. The current holder of this title is Niels Olav III. Number 12. The income and wealth of all residents are on public record. Yeah, you heard that right. Anyone living in Norway has 3 figures taken from their annual tax return published. These are their annual income, income tax paid, and total wealth. And since 2013, this data has always been open and can be searched by anyone. There have been a few changes, and now a person can see who has looked up their own data. Number 13. Norwegians read a lot of books. Norwegians are known to read more than any other population in the world. They shell out an average of $76 a year per capita on books. Annually, there are more than 2,000 books that are published. And today, some of the most famous authors include crime writer Jo Nesbø and author of My Struggles, Karl Ove Knausgård. Number 14. Norway is the home of modern and ancient skiing. Sondre Norheim is said to be the father of modern skiing. In the late 19th century, he started using ski bindings so he could swing and jump with less risk of falling. Eventually, his new ski design, which is the Telemark ski, led to the modern skis that are now loved and widely used. However, the origin of skiing goes back further. An ancient rock carving of RWAY in northern Norway shows that people used skis to move around the mountains as far back as 4,000 years ago. Number 15. Viking fashion is not what you think. It turns out that the Vikings did not actually wear helmets with horns. However, they did drink from their polished horns. They mostly used them for their favorite drink, mead, a fermented beer-like drink. Number 16. Vikings had superfoods. The Viking diet is not what you think it is. In fact, it was healthier than you could imagine. Because of their travels, they were exposed to various species of foods. One of their favorite drinks was skyr, a fermented creamy yogurt-like cheese, today considered a superfood. Number 17. Norwegians value their coffee. As much as Norwegians love alcoholic beverages, they appreciate their generally black coffee even more. Research has revealed that their annual consumption is 9.9 kilograms of coffee per capita, which is only surpassed by the Finns, who consume 12 kilograms. Number 18. The law requires them to carry firearms. Svalbard is an island that is 2,030 kilometers north of Oslo and 1,050 kilometers south of the North Pole. On this island, the law requires everyone to carry a firearm when they are leaving a settlement. This is because of the danger of a polar bear encounter. Number 19. Brown cheese is common here. Brown cheese is a staple food during a Norwegian breakfast and lunch. For those who love cheese but don't really like caramel-like brown cheese, there is no need to worry. Norway has a number of world-class artisan cheese producers. Number 20. You will find Europe's largest herd of wild reindeer here. Most people would expect that the largest herd of wild reindeer would be in places like the Antarctic, but that is not the case. The herd mostly roams Hardangervidda, which is the largest mountain plateau in Europe. This national park mostly includes vast plateaus, lush valleys, high mountains, distant glaciers, waterfalls, and stunning fjords. These are some of the most interesting facts about Norway and the lives that the Norwegians lead. If you want to know more, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. See you next time.